Hello Pokitto users, welcome to troubleshooting video number 2. Yesterday we looked at the Pokitto display connector and how you need to lock the connector properly in order to get a picture working on the Pokitto display. And today we're going to look at part 2, which is how to connect the Pokitto to the PC and how to put it into programming mode. So let's start again from Pokitto wiki. And the assembly instructions. And we will go to the final page of the assembly instructions over here. Okay, so Pokitto has two buttons at the back. The top button is reset and the bottom button is flash. And these are very important for connecting the Pokitto to the computer, and I will explain to you in a moment. Let's look at those buttons on the device. So what I am talking about is this button over here is the reset button, and this button over here is the flash button. So these buttons work in such a way that they put the Pokitto into two different modes. Okay, so what's actually happening when you boot up the Pokitto is when you start, here we go. When you start or you power on, what happens is the Pokitto checks So what the Pokitto does is when you power on the device, it will check if the flash button is pressed, and depending on whether it is no or yes, it goes into two different modes. And let me demonstrate that to you. So back to the table view. Okay, so now I'm turning on the Pokitto in a way that I'm not pressing this flash button. So I turn it on, and now Pokitto is running in normal mode. So when the button is not pressed, if the flash button is not pressed, it is running in normal mode. Like that. Okay. And now we will do the same. We will power up the Pokitto again, but this time what we will do is we're going to be pressing this button down, which is the flash button. So if you look at the instructions, you will see that the flash button is the bottom button. Okay. So let's see what happens when we turn on the Pokitto while we are pressing the flash button. So I'm pressing down the flash button over here, and I turn on the Pokitto. And what we get is a white screen. Okay, so this is what some people are saying is the white screen of death. But it's not actually a white screen of death. It is simply that the Pokitto is now in programming mode. And as you can see, the USB cable is not connected. So this is something that's built internally into the chip of the Pokitto itself. So if I turn on the device, we'll just show it one more time. If I turn on the device without pressing the button, we are now running in normal mode. Okay, but if I press down this button and I turn on the device, we get a white screen, and that's simply that the Pokitto is now in programming mode. All right, so I hope that becomes clear to you now. So program. So if the button is not pressed, you get normal mode. And if the flash button is pressed, you get program mode. And those are the two modes of the Pokitto. This is very important for you to understand. This is how it operates. All right, now let's get back to connecting the Pokitto to the computer. All right, so now I have a USB cable here, and I'm going to be connecting it to the Pokitto right here. It doesn't matter when you connect the Pokitto because you have to do the power cycle in any case. And one thing I did not explain was what is the meaning of the reset button. So the reset button is actually, if I turn off the device and I turn it on, you see what happens. So yeah, this is off, on, off, on. So the reset is just provided for convenience. So the reset button does exactly the same thing as turning the power on and off. So if I press reset and I press reset again, it does exactly the same. The important thing to notice now is that now we have the USB cable connected and I turn off the device. What I do now is with the USB cable connected to the computer, I press down this flash programming button and I turn on the device. Okay, so on the screen we get the white screen, and this means that the Pokitto is in programming mode. And what else also happens is that when we go to my computer, oops, yeah, now it shows up. So when we go to my computer, what we get is we get a new drive, which is the drive D, which says CRP disabled. And that CRP stands for code read protection, and it simply means that there's no write protection on that. And let's look at that drive. So look at that drive. Inside of that drive is a file called firmware.bin, and this is the actual program that's running on the Pokitto. So the Pokitto is a microcontroller. It has a very small memory. It's 256 kilobytes. And that's everything that's on the Pokitto that makes it run. Everything, the sound, the graphics, everything runs from that 256 kilobytes. Now what we can do next is we can simply take this file and we delete it. And what we are actually doing here is we are deleting the program from the Pokitto. Now let's go back to the Pokitto website. Let's close this. Let's go to Games and Apps. And let's take, for example, this Asterox by Yoda here. Or let's take the Arcade Classics. Okay, very nice game by Epic Dude. And here we see a file that's called arcade.bin, and the .bin means that these are Pokitto program files. So we click that to download it, and I get the Save As window, which I don't know if you can see, probably not, but I choose, let me see if I can, yeah, it's actually showing. Let me see. Yes, it's showing. So I click the bin file, and now we have the Save As window there. And I choose the CRP disabled drive, and I press Save. And it's now downloaded. You can see that it's downloaded to the destination. And now when we go back to the desktop view, we can see that arcade.bin has now been put onto the Pokitto drive. Okay, so now that, let's look at the actual device. You see it's still in programming mode. We could reprogram this again. We could delete that binary, put another binary, and so on. But we don't need to do that. The only thing we need to do now is we need to power down, and then we power up again. And what's happened now is the arcade binary is now running on the Pokitto. So that's how you get a binary onto the Pokitto. So the simplest way is connect the USB cable, turn off, press down the flash button, turn back on. You get the white screen. Then on the desktop, you get a new drive. On the desktop, you get a new drive with the Pokitto firmware. Then you can delete it, and you can drag and drop a new file on it, and that's all. Now, Macintosh computers and Linux computers need a little bit different approach in how to copy the binary onto it. But this was just to explain how the flash button So the purpose of the video was to show you that when you start the device and you press the flash button, you either go into normal mode or then you go into programming mode, and that's how you connect the Pokitto to the computer. We will get back to how to do the drag and drop copying on a Linux and Macintosh computers in the next video. Thanks for watching.